Woo! Cars are flying by super fast. And
So
welcome to episode 10.
10!
Only 5 or 6 more this season, and then we're gonna take a break
Thank
and
God.
come back with some new music for you
We
guys.
love you, but we hate you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Johnny was a pretty good kid, did the things all his friends did, went to church and sang their songs, till one day he wandered off. Johnny wanted to start a band, wanted to make a personal stand, wasn't taking any of their flack, and all those people turned their backs. He is right in front of you, but you can't say he could never ever be so good as you or me. Things got tough, you turned your back, you were his only friend. Now John Chapter Nowhere's running through your head again. Where does it say to judge before you judge yourself? Where does it say to shun the one who's on the run from you? Where does it say these things? Nowhere! It's a conspiracy. Nowhere! Even though it proves itself. He is right in front of you, but you can't say he could never ever be so good as you or me. Things got tough, you turned your back, you were his only friend. Now John Chapter Nowhere's running through your head again. You're to blame for the animosity, and that you now can't you see that you've gone wrong? It should be a shelter for all those kids who don't belong. Those kids who don't belong. Those kids who don't belong. Nugent! Right in front of you, but you can't see. He is right in front of you, but you can't see. He is right in front of you, but you can't see. He is right in front of you.
Episode 10. Thanks again for joining us, friends and family
You're the
and frenemies. You guys are the best.
It's mostly our moms.
Without you, there's no us.
Literally.
That's true.
None
I got
of this
a question.
riffraff.
Let me grab my beer real quick. Someone say something funny.
Oh, man, something funny. Brandon.
I lost it.
No, I wasn't
Sorry.
asking. I was something funny.
Whoa.
Brandon.
Jesus, dude.
What's the most bummed out you've ever been seeing a movie in the theater? What's the most disappointed you've actually been seeing the premiere of a movie that you were actually excited for?
All right, so you got to stay with me because I'm going to say a movie, and you guys are going to think I'm fucking around.
He's spinning a yarn, y'all.
So, one of the Twilights, right? I've seen all the Twilights. Yeah, I did. I'll admit to it. But there's one. It's either the last one or the second to last one where they're getting ready for the big, gigantic vampire fight.
Yeah.
Right? And they're all meeting in this giant field, and the whole fucking movie's this culmination of the good vampires and the werewolves meeting with all the bad vampires in this giant field. And there's this big epic battle that starts to take place, and everybody's dying, and people are getting killed, and there's werewolves dying, and like they're eating vampire heads. And you get all the way through the end of this like for Twilight epic battle scene, and then it's like shoop, and it turns out the one vampire that can see into the future, yeah, she was just dreaming the whole time, and then they turn around and fucking walk away.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
Just ruined it for me forever. 'Cause I was
man.
totally gonna
Never
watch
gonna
those.
watch that.
It was a whole movie about the girl just dreaming about the fight, and then they're like, nah, let's go home. It's like Dallas, the end of Dallas, where like that dude wakes up, and the whole fucking series was just
Spoiler
a
alert!
dream.
Just kidding.
I'm ruining 2 shows tonight.
Who shot JR? I don't even know. I just know that
I don't know.
There used to be a thing on one of the beer store doors there that says, "Who shot JR?" If you don't know, you need to have your ID ready. Now it's like 3 generations ago. Now even people like in their 40s are like, "Who the fuck is JR?"
Never heard of it.
Brandon, what's your most disappointed you've ever been from a film?
Okay, so I wasn't necessarily excited about this movie, but it was The Informant. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Is it a comedy or something? Or
I guess.
I've never even heard of it, to be honest.
We didn't even make it halfway through. It was like maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. And it just, we hadn't even like budged, like not a crack on our face or anything. It was like, fuck this. We didn't even count it as a loss. It was just like, well, all right.
Now I'm gonna have to go watch that movie.
You're indifferent.
It was terrible. I mean, there was like nothing funny, and they were like trying to crack jokes, and they had Matt Damon in some goofy getup, and he had like a prosthetic nose or
I
something.
swear this does not ring a bell to me
Like
at all.
not at
There
all.
you go. Yeah. It's called The Informant.
Apparently, yeah.
Unlike Matt Damon's best role ever in Euro Trip.
The Clerks cartoon where they just chuck the milkshake at him.
Surprisingly, I've never.
Yours, Matt Damon.
I have not seen the Clerks cartoon. I've heard tons of good stuff about it.
Fantastic. It's
I've
beautiful.
worked for Kevin Smith, and I
I
haven't
know.
seen the Clerks cartoon.
What the hell,
That's
man?
sacrilegious.
Tracy's super famous.
That's true.
And
That's like
rich
being a
beyond their
Catholic and
wildest
never reading
dreams.
numbers.
And now my friend Josh Stifter, who works for Robert Rodriguez, is a fan of our show now, too.
Yeah, we got a fan.
Maybe there'll be some movie where they need a shitty early 90s punk band in one of Robert Rodriguez's new, like Desperado 4 or something. We
Yeah,
can get our
yeah.
faces blown
Oh,
off.
I was gonna say who's it gonna be?
Danny Trejo needs to shoot me.
Yeah.
In the
Danny
face.
Trejo.
Danny Trejo can throw a throwing knife through your fucking throat or something.
Like in real life.
Yeah.
Those are great.
I'd take
movies.
one for the team for Danny.
So here's my movie that bummed me out. Me and my wife went to see Suicide Squad when it came out.
Oh,
That movie's a piece of shit.
Yep.
And I'm not a hater. Like, I am a hater. You guys know that I'm cynical to an extent. But I wasn't, like, going into that movie like, oh, this is going to be a piece of crap. Like, I was like, it looks okay. It's kind of stylized and cool and stuff. There was a lot of hype around it, if you remember. There was tons of hype around Suicide Squad.
Tons.
Went and saw it. It is a complete muddled piece of shit. It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
You guys notice
Super
that? Like,
hard to follow.
doesn't make any sense.
There's just way too much. And
You're
that's
never
what they do.
invested in anything. Like, the only real characters are like the Joker and Harley Quinn and Will Smith,
Yeah.
and everybody else is like completely forgettable.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit
It'd
about
be like
Captain
watching
Boomerang?
the new Avengers without watching any of the other ones where everybody's got like 3 minutes of fucking screen time.
Totally.
And they don't develop anybody.
Yeah.
Awful movie.
So
And
if they had just like made it Deadshot, Will Smith's character, I would have been okay with it. It would have been a way better movie than that thing
I
was.
would watch a Will Smith Deadshot movie.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he did out of all the actors in there, he did the best.
that was the only scene that was actually cool to me is when he first jumps up
Yeah.
when they're all fighting and he starts shooting all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
weird little
Oh, man.
monster
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
running towards him and everyone
Oh,
kinda
sweet.
they all just stop and like watch him. That part was cool.
The-
Like, how about you do that for the rest of the movie, guys?
The fucking thing where they're in the jail and they're like, "All right, do your thing," and he's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, really?
I
Is that,
felt
like,
like the
necessary?
the fire guy
yeah.
that wouldn't use his fire like through the whole fucking movie. Like
Yeah.
you just know, like at the
He
end,
was in
okay, he's gonna do the fire
He
thing.
was in a dark place.
He was in a dark place. Literally, they had him in that tank.
I've stayed away from most DC movies. Like, I actually didn't hate Man of Steel as much as most people do.
I actually like that one.
There was some okay stuff to it. I do agree that it's weird. Like, they definitely hit some weird tones, and Superman
was very,
kills
like,
like a
Art-
million people,
Art
probably.
Nouveau.
I think it could have done without like some of the what's his name in the beginning, the dad.
Russell Crowe
No.
as
Kevin
Jor-El.
Costner.
No. Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Oh, okay.
No, I love Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
That guy was cool. But yeah, his like dad when he was like telling him all this deep dark shit. It's
Yeah.
like, all right.
Kevin Costner was like, "Well, you know, you have that thing. Like, I'm surprised your mom let you watch that fucking movie.
When you're like,
She's at home
28.
now.
I'm an
Like,
adult.
son of a bitch, Brandon watched it. That's it.
What? That's like this is episode 10.
They're gonna have to go back to like
you're gonna
episode
have to
2.
go back to the pre-episode episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the pilot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For episode 1.
And then
Fucking
we
Kevin
got funding,
Costner
and
3-pack.
here we are on YouTube and Facebook.
Now we got funding. You fuckers have been holding out on me. I knew it.
Fucking YouTube were like, by Jove, they've got it.
Speaking of anybody watching, go buy our stuff on Teespring right
Seriously.
Right now.
We need cash like
The fat
crazy.
shirts are actually fat shirts. Like, they're good. Like, usually when fat dudes buy shirts, especially like kind of these lower, like not mass-produced ones, you'll get this giant-ass square piece of fabric, and the logo will be like the size of a fucking silver dollar in the middle.
You
Ready?
fried chicken.
Are we
You
ready?
didn't eat a chicken.
What are we on? Second song?
Yes.
All right.
Looking back on my life, I realize I've done some stupid shit. The broken bones and hangovers, well, I wouldn't change any of that. I worked hard to become the best I am today, and I accept all consequences for my crime. Well, I heard some people say that they go back and right their wrongs, but if you ask me if I'd change, here's what I'd say: no fucking way! Looking back on my life, I realize I made some people mad. I'm sorry that I hurt those feelings. That don't mean that I'm sad. Life is worth the living. First you gotta have a life. The karma that I cooked up's looking real. Well, I heard some people say it. I forgot the rhyme. If you ask me, kiss my ass. I really mean it. Kiss my ass. No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh, we did it.
I've always had trouble with the lyrics on that song, actually. Even way before this incarnation of Three Man. I used to fuck that one up all the time. So I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
What's the first video game that you put some serious hours into?
So, like, the first game I put enough hours in to beat was the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. That's the first game I ever remember, like, I'm going to beat this game.
Did you ever beat 2?
No.
Yeah, that game's
the
impossible.
Shittiest game ever. I'm not
That's
gonna
the one
lie.
we had, too. We didn't
Oh,
even have
man.
the original Legend of Zelda.
There was like you would walk to the right because, of course, that one was a side scroller instead of a top down, and you'd walk to the right and there'd be a statue like 3 screens over. Never got past it. Had no fucking clue what to do because I borrowed that game from a buddy and he didn't have like the book back when games came with books.
Yeah.
Not a fucking clue. Not a goddamn clue what to do with that statue. Yeah. Just like RoboCop. Do you remember the original fucking RoboCop?
I remember the arcade version. They
So
had
I think
an
it was
arcade
the
version
same
of it.
version because like 3 minutes into the game, you're in this room with this giant fucking robot, and you're up against a wall, and it keeps coming towards you, and you shoot it and fucking shoot it, and you dodge bullets, and it never dies, and I die every time. And then like 20 years later, I was talking to somebody about it, and they're like, yeah, no, you're supposed to turn around and shoot a hole in the wall and leave the room. It's like, motherfucker.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon, what's your game that you sunk serious time in?
Serious time? Like the first one that I ever did was probably the Ninja Turtles game at the arcade.
Oh, the 4-person?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a great game.
Turtles
man.
in Time.
Yeah.
That game is so
oh
damn
my
good.
god, dude.
Well, this was the previous game to
That
Turtles in Time.
This was like,
yeah, there was an earlier game. Yeah.
Any and every chance we had, we'd run down to the arcade, like, when Mom and Dad weren't looking, for a good 3 hours doing what adults do when they
when they send their kids to the arcade.
Yeah, we'd book it down there. Yeah, and that's what I spent like my whole allowance for like 3 months or something. I was saving up. It's funny that you mentioned it, but RoboCop. But I was saving up for the RoboCop arm with the gun.
Oh yeah.
Like I was saving up for that hunk of junk. And, I just blew it all at the arcade. And then I got one for Christmas because I was a spoiled brat. And parents were like, oh, he spent his allowance, so we're going to get him what he wants.
Was it everything you hoped for?
It broke after, like, the first jump.
Fair enough.
After the first time you tried to shoot a perp in the balls while he was holding a woman from behind.
Dude,
yes.
Yeah, I jumped. I can't remember what it was.
Creep.
But I jumped off of this shed that we had in our backyard and, landed with that thing down. And
it just snapped.
That's why we don't have nice things, Brandon.
The first game that I remember putting lots of hours into was Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
Because my brother was a bit of a computer guy, and he knew how to get all the shareware stuff installed, so we had put some serious time into Wolf 3D, and then quickly evolved onto Doom, the original shareware Doom, Knee Deep in the Dead or whatever it was called.
I played a lot of Doom.
Was it like the old
I watched
Wolfenstein where you
people play a
moved
lot
with
of
the
Doom.
mouse and you couldn't look up or down?
No, old school shooters.
it
You
was
moved
all
with
keyboard.
the pointing buttons, and then you press like Shift to strafe.
Yep.
Which was
Oh,
totally
wow,
screwed up.
terrible.
Oh yeah,
And
for years
Spacebar was shoot.
I was playing online for a while, playing shooters online, still playing that way before everyone's like, dude, just use the fucking mouse.
you guys are nerds.
I played enough Mike Tyson Punch-Out that I still know his code.
I had a few friends that could actually beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out like end to end without losing any. Like they just knew all the tricks. To beat every single
I mean,
person.
if you knew every guy, because with Mike Tyson, once I finally figured out, you just have to duck him the first round, and then like the second round, you can whoop his ass.
Did you see that there's a glitch, or it's either a glitch or something they put it on purpose on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
crowd?
Where there's a
The
guy
little
in the
dude
crowd that like
yep.
stands up and he lets you know that Mike Tyson's
Yep.
about to do his power punch. Like it's a glitch that someone figured out.
I didn't know that when I played.
No, but I think they just figured it
Yeah.
out in like 2015 or
Yep,
so.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing that. But yeah, no, that one's 007. And get your pad and paper out. So if you want to go beat up Mike Tyson, it's 007-373-5963.
Man alive.
Wonder whose telephone number that is. I don't know if it's the right amount of numbers actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 334.
Should call it.
You're the right amount of numbers.
You call the number and it's Mike Tyson.
This is Mike Tyson. Thanks for
Why
calling.
do people keep calling me here?
Come see my pigeons.
Mike
ludicrous.
Tyson's going to find us.
Mike
He
Tyson
is-
seems funny as shit, so I think
I'd
he would
hang out with Mike Tyson.
I think he would appreciate this conversation.
Come see my tigers.
He'd probably also find it funny to kick our asses.
Oh, man.
I'd find that funny.
I don't know if
He's like,
you could pay me enough money.
I'm kicking y'all's asses. How's my fist taste?
Wow.
We're ready for
I did a good Mike Tyson until right now.
ready for some My Last Sunrise?
Let's play some My Last Sunrise.
flashing for my eyes. At the break of my last sunrise, pages of my memory are burning in my head. Thoughts that I cannot speak of, choices that my conscience reeks of. My lips are trembling from the things that I've said.
Whoa! These memories fade, fade away. Whoa! These memories fade, fade away.
So as I lie here waiting, I feel my vitals failing. My screams of forgiveness are pooling in my eyes. For everyone I beat down, I wish that they could see me now. The mistakes that I have realized.
Whoa! These memories fade, fade away. Whoa! These memories fade, fade away.
I hear my heart rate slowing.
The morning lights ascending.
Uneasiness is growing.
This life is finally ending. Whoa! These memories fade, fade away. Whoa! These memories fade, fade away.
Keep my life flashing for my eyes. At the break of my last sunrise, pictures of my memory are burning in my head. Thoughts that I cannot speak of, choices that my conscience reeks of. Lips are trembling from the things that I said.
In a dark place, mad at the world.
Watching
Such
Kevin
a dark
Costner
place.
movies.
Before
How
I
can
was
you be in
born.
a dark place watching Kevin Costner movies, man?
Have you
no.
seen Waterworld?
I have. Not only have I seen it, but I was young and dumb enough when it came out that I was like, "This movie's awesome."
Oh, it was so good.
In retrospect, it's not a great movie. It's a little long. They probably could have shaved like an hour off of it, and it would have been a better movie. I'd say.
yeah.
Like that's the big issue for me is the pacing's a little off. There's a lot of slow shit in there. Like the effects are all cool and the action scenes are cool. Like it's a good movie in that sense, but
Never
The
seen
concept was all right. Like, I really enjoyed the fact that he had, like, webbed feet and gills.
yeah. And I like the
'Cause-
fact that everyone's like freaked out and like religious zealots. They're like,
Yes.
mutant! And they go to kill him right away. Yeah.
I,
Isn't this piquing
And-
your interest?
And he drank his own pee.
He did drink his own pee. That's like the first scene of the movie is he pisses in some weird
He's
contraption.
peeing in a bottle and pours it into a thing, and then he drinks the pee-pee.
I went to the attraction at Universal Studios.
I've
Oh,
heard
that's
that's good.
super fucking cool.
I heard it was awesome, yeah.
That was pretty awesome, yeah.
That'd be weird to go to that and never have seen the movie.
Right.
Why are all these Mad Max looking dudes flying around on jet skis? I don't
Welcome to
understand.
my life. There was a lot that I don't
He went to the
understand.
Robin Hood thing. Had never seen that one. Fucking Postman.
Why does Dennis Hopper only have one eye?
What the hell?
I got a unique question because we've asked a lot of questions about our worst injuries. This is a specific
Oh, yeah.
injury question,
Yeah.
and it's what's the worst injury you've received doing the dumbest thing? So like you can have worse injuries and you can get hurt doing dumber things, but I'm asking like what's the worst you've gotten hurt doing the dumbest thing?
Oh, man. So when I was in high school, I was riding a four-wheeler, and I didn't have a helmet on, even though that was the rule and the law at
That's
the time. I
very
told
dumb.
my mom I had
Even
a
in
helmet on.
Uniloclete?
Yes, you had to wear a helmet when driving a four-wheeler, but not driving a snow machine. Strange enough.
Well, the
So-
snow will
Yeah, yeah,
you know keep your head
yeah.
from cracking open.
Exactly.
I wore a helmet riding a snow machine because it was warmer. So anyway, so I'm on my four-wheeler. I'm on this little Honda 250, and the old Honda 250s had tiny little front tires and big back tires, so they kind of sat like a drag truck car thing. And I'm on the beach, and I'm standing up, and when the beach, like, you get in the soft sand and those big-ass back tires, you could hop, and like you could do like this kind of thing back and forth with it. So I was going full throttle down the beach, which was only, I mean, it was about 55. That thing would do about 55 full open. And no helmet on, shorts, and I was jumping and fishtailing it, and my foot slipped off the peg and got sucked under the back tire. And it flipped with me on it, like, because when it sucked me off, I jerked the handlebars. So I rolled with it, and then it, like, catapulted me down the beach. And I hit some rocks. I've still got a giant scar on my head from it. And the only thing I remember is I was, like, kind of lucid, and I watched the four-wheeler, like, cartwheeling down the beach. And it hit on this side of me and then, like, flipped up over the top of me and landed on the other side of me. And then I passed back out. And so the next thing I know, I wake up. And are you guys familiar with Gary Larson? Yes. The cartoon artist? Far Side. He wrote Far Side. There's a cartoon he wrote, and it was called Custer's Last View instead of Custer's Last Stand. Mm-hmm. And all it is like this top-down view of a circle of Indian faces looking at him. That's what it looked like. I opened my eyes, and all of my friends are standing around me in a circle, like looking down at me like they thought I was dead. So I get up, and I had that sweet-ass Jonathan Taylor Thomas haircut where the sides were shaved, but the top was long.
Yeah.
Dude.
And you parted it in the middle, because that was
it
fucking
bleach
cool.
blonde?
Oh, absolutely.
So it was like the McDonald's.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
I'm loving it.
It might have even been permed at this point in time. I can't remember. I had a short period of time where I thought perming that motherfucker was a good idea. It wasn't. It looked like Top Ramen.
So sexy.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. So anyways, I get up, and there's blood. You can't see because my hair is like down, and I'm dirty. I've got road rash from like my forehead to my chin.
Yes.
And there's blood like coming down the side of my neck, and somebody's like, "Your ear's bleeding." So I stick my finger in my ear, and I'm like, no, it's not. And then I go to rub my like hand to brush my hair out of my face, my sweet-ass Top Ramen. And I run my fingers through my hair, and I stick my finger in that fucking cut in my head, like into the first knuckle.
Yeah.
Like, and to this day, like, thinking about it makes it a little queasy. So, unlike a smart child, because we didn't have a hospital, we had a public health clinic. Where most of the time if you went in, they pulled out this giant-ass book and, like, flipped through it to try and figure out what was... I remember... So if you get strep throat and you don't take care of it, you get scarlatina, which is this petechial rash all over your body, and you get a fever. I went there, and I remember them... My mother and the nurse were, like, flipping through this giant fucking book.
Oh, my God.
Like, maybe it's German measles. And they ended up calling a doctor in, I think, Nome or Anchorage, and we're like... The guy was like, well, has he had a sore throat, like, in the last week? And so they asked me, and I said, yeah, like 3 or 4 days ago. And the doctor's like, he's got fucking strep throat. Give him a penicillin shot. And he was right. So anyway, that was just, like, some prequel to set the stage. So... I have this giant cut on my head, and do I go get stitches at this public health center? Absolutely not. I get into my dad's recliner with a wet washcloth, and I proceed to hold the cut on my head closed for like 2 days. And it just continued to bleed. Yeah. And my mom's like, if you don't go to the doctor today, I'm going to wait till you pass out, and then we'll drag you to the doctor.
Jeez. Yeah.
And so it finally, like on the morning of the 3rd day, like it quit bleeding, it coagulated enough, but it's a giant scar now. Like, it's big, it's wide, because it never, all because I didn't wear a helmet and was hot rodding down the beach like a jackass.
I have a similar, on a side subject, I ran into somebody's trailer hitch leaving a Christmas party and have a story just like that. I probably should have went and got stitches, but just didn't, and it bled for like 3 days straight because I'm an idiot. Yeah. And that was not when I was young and dumb as a kid. That was like last year.
Last week.
Yeah. It was totally like a cut. Like, I mean, it was open. Like, there was like that oval kind of shape where you could see underneath the skin. It was... And I don't know why I didn't just go. In retrospect, I really was like, dude, I should have just gotten fucking stitches. This isn't my story, by the way.
Yeah.
My actual worst injury from the dumbest thing is I was walking down the stairs in the Commons at K-High, just in between classes, and I went down the one side to go to the bottom level over by Freshman Hall, and as I hit off the last step and took my last step, I rolled my fucking ankle just walking down the stairs. And like Mr. Buer was right there, and he was like, "Oh, geez, I saw that." Like, and it was actually bad. Like I had to go to the doctor and get like pills and get a brace and had to skip a couple of days of school and shit just from walking down the stairs. Rolled my ankle.
Jesus.
Like one of the most severe, because I'd played basketball forever and I'd rolled both ankles a whole bunch of times. This was like the worst time ever, and literally I was just walking down the stairs. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah. Oh yeah. So okay. So my stupidest injury, I actually don't remember like how it happened. So that's the stupid part. But I woke up and went to work and all that, and all of a sudden my side started itching really bad. And I was like, God, that itches. And then like it kind of like I felt something inside moving when I was scratching it, and I lifted up my shirt and it was covered in blood. And there was this little tiny metal thing sticking out. I was like, what the fuck? And then, like, I start pulling it. It's a fucking mattress spring.
What? You got a mattress spring?
So it was coiled up.
What?
Inside of me. And I was like, what the hell
You're like
is
a
going
Borg.
on? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it freaked me out totally. I mean, I was at work. And I'm, like, pulling this thing out.
That is super
It's
fucked
like,
up.
what the
How is
hell?
that even possible?
Do not know. That's like the weird thing is like I woke up, went about my day, like didn't notice it, and then like it started scratching like halfway through the day, and I was like, what the fuck?
This itches.
You sure you weren't like abducted by aliens or something?
Dude, I don't know. We've got a lot of theories. But yeah. So my other dumb one, like we'll do a twofer. So I stabbed myself in the wrist with a pencil. I was dancing for this girl in high school. And like, I mean, I was going all out super goof dance because she was like into fun. She told me she was into funny. And I was like, oh, I'll show you funny. And so like, I'm like shaking my shit, sticking my ass out and like doing a bunch of pelvic thrusts. I mean, you got to let her see the junk swinging and everything. So, yeah. And then I throw my arms down and do like a jazz hand kind of thing, and there's a pencil sticking up in my pocket. This son of a bitch went like 3/4 of an inch into my wrist. And like I went to the office. I was like, "Is there a school nurse?" And they're like, "No, why?" And I held up my arm, and there's just like this pencil sticking out. Like, oh shit, yeah.
You end up going to the hospital?
No.
Did you just rip it out? Or?
Yeah, they're like, do you feel comfortable pulling it out? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And like, I pull it out and it's like gushing blood. But yeah, I had this little blue dot on my wrist still from the lead poisoning my skin.
Should we play our last song here?
Let's do it.
Woo! Thanks for tuning in for the whole session here, guys. Last song is called Loser of the Year. Sucking some snot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wake up round noonish, eat weekly tuna fish, head for that black box system, Lincoln beat down Rick and E-Rock. Watch some TV now, Holy Trilogy on DVD now. Call up old Georgie just to say hi, but he's never around. I go outside in my underwear to check my mail that isn't there from the people who don't care. I rarely shower and drink month-old beer. I hold my head up high cause I'm the loser of the year. I had a girl once and tons of friends, but now I'm by myself. They all went on to do better things, but I did bad in school. I'll be right here in this stupid town, and you'll see me around. I'll never amount to anything, but that's just fine with me. I'm the loser of the year. don't you worry, I'm stuck right here, I'm in no hurry. I've got my Les Paul and my 112 amp, and that's all I need. I've got no money, I'm so broke it's almost funny. I'd pump my friends for cash, but like I said before, they're here no more. I never thought it would be this good, never thought I'd be this free. There are no people to bring me down, no responsibility. I'll be right here in this stupid town, and maybe if you're lucky, you just might see me around. I'll never amount to anything, but that's just fine with me. I'm the loser of the year. Come back next week.
We should have rehearsed that one.
Yeah, that sounded good.
Should have.
I totally forgot that intro. But it sounded badass. Thanks for
Production
showing up,
engineer,
everybody.
Lee Freeman.
Lee Freeman.
Handheld camera by Tony.
Tony.
Aren't they
I was-
called gaffs?
I always forget Tony's last name for
Or
some
Key
Dolly.
grip.
Dolly.
We
Dolly.
need a key grip.
You're Dolly from now on.